Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN. And yes, we absolutely have another banger for you today. It has been reported and has, I guess, finally reached my ears that SATORU, who, as we all know, has been playing on Neff's account as he apparently gave it to him during Neff's exit interview. This is all public. Apparently is no longer playing the game / quit / maybe is just taking time off. It has been reported that the person with the #1 account in the game may or may not be playing anymore. And if you see here, right at 1.242 billion power, right, with the strongest account, maxed healed is 1.284 billion, is here in Kingdom 174, taking up the deadest of space. All that and more. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you throw us up, because that helps a lot. Thanks. So, news reached my ears. Now, I heard this from a few people, and then I went over and I asked. So I asked some of the people that are in 174 who are in the S2AK Alliance if they had heard about anything. So I reached out to some of the management people here. And the information I received, just to be clear, management stated that he is taking time off but unsure on return. It should also be stated that I reached out to SATORU as well. Haven't heard anything back. I know a few other people that have reached out to SATORU. They haven't heard anything back. Now, it was reported that he may or may not have been outside of the Alliance for about 6 weeks. That's a month and a half or so. Now, I don't know if that timeline is accurate or not. That just is what has been proposed or / stated to me. Now, the interesting thing about this, and there's really a couple angles here. Number one, this is a massive account. We've done my top 25 strongest players in the game, and Neff's account has been, for all intents and purposes, #1 for a pretty long time, right? If we go and we take a look as an example here, and let's say we show you, right, let's go just to players. This is my sheet again. We'll update this eventually once I get to an updated scan from Fuzzy. However, if we look, you can see here, right, Nephisto has had the strongest account in the game since December of 2023. It's basically almost 2 years, right? He's been #1. Prior to that, Kyle had the #1 spot, right? Nephisto was working his way up. This was very early on, right? Probably like the first 50, maybe 75, 80 kingdoms in the game. Maybe the first 100, right, within that. All right, people like Daka, who I think Daka was like the first person to hit 1 billion kills. You see a few other people. I see Nephisto was here, and then I think, I see. Excuse me, it's because I was going off current power, and I think he had just got done fighting. Excuse me, that's what it was. It was Southern Light. Excuse me, never mind. He's Nephisto still there. I need to go back farther. Jeez, never mind. Excuse me, my apologies there. So okay, yeah. So this is right around like the Ghost Junie times. I don't know if Neff was on the radar yet at this time. Okay. So like his first #1 appearance was here May of 2023. So that would actually be 2 years and 3 months that he's had historically, if you're going off historical power, right? Having historically the highest powered account in the game, right? So almost 2.5 years that he has. That's a freaking long time to be #1 and just no one catching you on that power. Now, obviously we can, if you can get into the weeds and people could say, okay, well, it might not have been worth anyone else really pushing that much because really before, let's be honest, before YY showed up, nobody was really pushing like that, right? Even once Neff got over, like, where was it? Look, so even if you look here, right, when he was around 600, right, he was double Southern Light, and that was December 23, right? We looked at that. If you look at where he was the next month, dropped a little bit, but that was just because of fighting, right? His new historical in February of 24 of last year, right? So a year and a half ago, he was pushing 900. So he was 3 times Southern Light, just massively extending the range there, right? Fights, comes back, right? You could tell kind of KVK, and then breaks 1 billion power from when we took the pull on 4 on, what is that, April, February, March, April of 24 of last year, right? So that's about a year and 4 months ago where he broke 1 billion power, and no one else is just really close, right? Kyle catches up maybe a smidgen, but nothing. And then YY makes first appearance here and passes up pretty much everyone else on May of 2024, right? So a year and 3 months ago. And then you could see him at 382, 406, 530, right? Neff kind of peaking out, right? 1.25, not really anything there. YY 535, 693. Right now he's less than half away. 702 he pushes, right? That was end of last year. We had 790, so he's at 800 now. Let me see what else did I have here. YY 778. And then whenever I took the last one, power, I don't even want to look at that. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, so he ended up, at least as of April of this year, right? So as of 4 months ago, a little less than that, right? He peaked at 853. I mean, again, if he kept going, no doubt in my mind that eventually he would have catch. Now, obviously, he had other accounts, just like Neff had other accounts too as well. But it was very clear that YY was on pace to eventually pass Nephisto's account at some point. However, the interesting play for me here is that SATORU had played this account for all of about 8 months. For those of you that may or may not recall, around the time that he got the account, this was in December of 2024, kind of maybe late December, around that time, because we know from Neff's exit interview that I talked about before, this was kind of around the time-ish that he most likely would have received the account. So if you just counting since then, you're probably looking at about 8.5 months, right? Going on 9, but 8.5 months, give or take, that he played the account. Account is still strong, but now what's going to happen with the account? That to me is the interesting part, is because again, he could give the account to, well, and again, we're not, people can do what they want, but obviously it's been done before, right? Will he keep it? Will someone else play it? Hypothetically, of course. Or will pilots run rampant? Is he just not going to respond to anyone and just kind of let the account die and just wait the time out, and then eventually the account will disappear? But that's going to take, 2-3 months for it to? And that could effortlessly affect 174's KVK matchmaking going into the next season. So that kind of sucks, right? It's rough when you think about it, because again, you have such an active account. And don't get me wrong, people with strong accounts, at any point in time can quit a Kingdom Builder game and, not let anyone else play it. Even though in this kind of a situation, you could almost view it as kind of like a shared-ish account, quote unquote, right? So yeah, that to me, it just, again, obviously I feel for 174 because he's such a massive contributor. However, that's the next part for me, is like, man, I worry about how potentially that power is going to inflate by a decent bit. I mean, you look at their power, right? It's 11,469. That is, you could remove Neff's power and now you're at around 10 billion. Like, that's a significant chunk. That's like 10% of their, 10, 11, 12% of their overall power in just one player. That's like it's massive. And so, again, I'm looking at it from that angle where, again, will that potentially, I don't want to say screw them, but will that be rough going into the next KVK matchmaking season? I have to imagine that if the account is going to count, which again, unless it's getting removed due to the not playing cooldown timer that will go based on the account, which again, from what I understand, would be 3 months, that could get factored in to the metrics and to the stats and data for 174. So that sucks. The other part of it is, I almost wonder how, if Neff feels anything about this, right? It's like, again, you gave this account to someone, they played it for eight months, eight and a half months, right? Which is what, 2 KVKs worth, and then they stopped playing. You know, I mean, who knows how much money he put in? I mean, it had to be hundreds of thousands that he probably put into that account from what he had stated in the interview. And you know, somebody, I mean, again, he played for about 2 years, right? You know, a little bit less, right? Year and a half. SATORU plays it for 8 months and then it's done. Now, again, maybe he just doesn't care. Maybe it's just like, man, listen, this is what I wanted to do with it. I don't care what happens afterwards. But then I almost wonder if other people might be like, man, I mean, that's kind of rough. It's like, you stopped, maybe you could have given it to someone so they could have kept playing it. Again, right? To each their own, as always. Right? Do everything with your own risk. That always has to be stated. And we're never going to be out here advocating and be like, oh, yeah, people just need to go and account share all day long. Not that. However, it is something that is publicly and has been done in the gaming ecosystem. I think that at least has to be acknowledged at face value. So, yeah, I guess I just wonder now, as I maybe transition a little bit to your guys' thoughts, what do you think about the whole situation, right? Is there any blame? Do you fault SATORU for taking time off and quitting and just, again, maybe not doing anything with the account, or no? Listen, people can do whatever they want. It obviously sucks for 174 in some regards, at least in the interim or short term. And, again, what do you think about players with big accounts like this? Do you think that there really truly is any value in powering an account up to that high of a level and basically not doing what YY did, right? Which was like which was just like straight up delete all his troops. I mean, in some regards, you could say that by YY doing that, he helped the kingdom because he lowered his overall power. And obviously, it'll have to factor that into the next KVK, of course, but was able to lower all his as much power as he could by removing all his troops, right? Even though he still has a strong account, it at least isn't going to inflate that KVK matchmaking there in 3.14 by that much, right? Compared to what it would have if he left the account intact, which is kind of the opposite of where you have with SATORU/Neff's account. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think on this one. But yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Number one player on the number one player in the game, or you could say number one strongest account in the game, basically ghosts from what has been suspectedly reported, and who knows if they will return or not. It's wild stuff, man. It's wild stuff. There's a lot that's been happening late around the COD community and kingdoms, and hopefully we'll be here to cover a lot more. And as always, if you have a good story or you got something that you think is interesting, feel free to slide into my DMs on Discord. You're more than welcome to reach out to me on my main account too as well. If you want to hit me up in game, if you just don't have any Discord means by chance, you're more than welcome to. And I'll show that off too as well if I can switch this over real quick. Here we go. Yeah, so that's my stuff, my ID. Again, I respond to anyone that hits me up in game on this account, just because this is one that I typically always have up on one of my screens. That's it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That's it. We will catch you next time.